Hey everyone, as a lot of you know, I don't speak through a lot of my videos, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and someday I'll let you in on those reasons. But for this video, I'm going to speak through it only because there might be a lot of beginners who want to build their own birdhouse. This is the time of year a lot of people do it, and they might pick up a few things from this video. The birdhouse I have now is in a bad way. It's great for pictures, but not doing much for bird property values. So I'm going to build a new one out of some mahogany I had. Any outdoor wood would work. Mahogany is a great choice. Cedar is a popular choice, and you could even use some white oak if you don't mind sanding for 12 years. But it's going outdoors. You don't have to really do a ton of sanding. I probably will, only because, they're birds, they're not animals after all. So I have to begin by squaring up a few boards for the basic structure. Okay, so I have my 4 boards here for my basic box, which is all woodworking is box building. And if you don't have a lot of the tools that I have, then you should probably give up. But if you don't want to give up, you could probably use hand tools. Now I have to draw the shape for the two panels, the front and the back. And I'm going to use a bandsaw, but you could also use a jigsaw here. Okay, so here are the 4 pieces for the basic structure. Obviously, it still needs to be sanded. You do that before you glue it up just to make life easier for yourself. And I have to cut the floor panel and a spacer for the top just so that when I do glue it glues up nice and square. Okay, so here's the structure with the floor panel cut and this spacer, which will not be glued in. It's just a spacer to keep it square while the glue sets up. Also, you don't want this on the top anyway. The birds told me, especially the little ones, that they want an open concept, so that will be taken out afterwards. And right now, all I have to do is sand it. Okay, so that's as far as I'm going to take the sanding. Like I said, you don't have to go berserk with it. And don't be discouraged you don't have a oscillating spindle sander like I do. Just use a sanding block or your hand and a piece of sandpaper. I'll end up doing that anyway to sweeten the curves. So I'm just about ready to glue this up now, except there's one minor detail I have to do, and that is drill a hole so the birds can enter in and out. Can imagine it being too easy on the birds if I don't do that, so I'm going to do that right now with a drill and a 2-inch Forstner bit. Make sure you use a piece of scrap like I did, so one, you're not drilling into your workbench, and the other reason is once you see the chips change color, you know you're through your workpiece. So now I need to glue this up. Something I forgot to mention earlier. If you're going to suspend this from a tree with just an eye hook, then I would glue this floor panel in right now. But if you're going to use a base like I'm going to do, I'm going to build one in a little bit, then leave this out and screw it in later. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But if you're just going to suspend it from a tree, go ahead and glue this piece in. Okay, as you can see, the glue is all dry right now. I usually don't work with anything until after about 12 hours, but you could probably start realistically working with it after 8 hours. Now you can move on to the roof right now if you wanted to, but I'm going to dress up the sides with some clapboard siding. Okay, I begin with 2 starter strips that are 1 inch wide by 1/8 inch thick by 4.5 inches long. And they get mounted on each side flush with the bottom, glued. And then they get covered up with pieces from here on to the end that are 1.5 inches wide, 4.5 long, 1/8 inch thick. So I'm just finishing up sanding the residue left from the glue on the clapboards, but don't have to do a whole lot of that. And as I mentioned before, if you want to skip this part, I don't blame you. It is tedious gluing all these on, and I just used tape. It probably would have been easier to use a pin nailer and some glue, but my pin nailer is being borrowed right now, stolen really. So you saw the way I was putting it on, but it dresses up the side real nice. At least I think it does. But like I said, if you want to skip it, I don't blame you. Now I got to make the roof. I don't have any pressure treated plywood. I'm too paranoid to just put regular plywood on it, even though I'm going to put some copper sheeting on it. So I'm going to use 2 pieces of mahogany that I have, and I'll use that as a sub roof, so to speak. And I got to cut the angles right now. I'm sure most of you noticed I didn't make that 35-degree angle cut freehand. I screwed it to a 2x4. And it doesn't really matter that I screwed into the piece, because that's going to be covered up with copper sheeting anyway. And the other thing that copper sheeting is going to cover up is the top, this gap here. I knew that was going to happen. Doesn't really matter. It's going to be all covered up. So this is all set now. I just have to chamfer the base, the top and the bottom. Then I'll work on the rake boards and put the copper on. And that'll be it. Put the tongue oil on it just to tint it a little bit so it looks better when the top decides to patina. And that's pretty much it. Not an intricate project, or as intricate as you want to make it. Not bad, since I just looked at a picture online and guessed at the dimensions and based it off of what the bird people told me to do. In hindsight, I would build the rake boards a little bit thicker, probably 3/8 of an inch instead of 1/4 of an inch, just for durability's sake. But only time will tell. And I hope the snobby bluebirds like it and don't turn their beaks up at it. The dimensions of this will be down below. Thanks for watching. I appreciate a like, and I would really appreciate a subscription. I'll see you next time.